My name is Carrie. Standing in my living room, exhausted after a 12-hour shift at the hospital, still in my scrubs, I faced a moment that would change my life. My husband, Ethan, sprawled in front of the TV, issued an ultimatum. Either you go mop my mom's floors right now, or I'm filing for divorce. I couldn't help but smirk. Here he was, a 32-year-old man with no job, no money, and living in an apartment I paid for, acting so bold. He rubbed his hands smugly, certain that I'd obediently rush off to serve his mother, just like the submissive wife he thought I was. But 20 minutes later, when I walked back through the door, his expression turned to shock. Instead of a mop, I carried a folder. I calmly handed him the divorce papers I'd prepared weeks ago, along with the eviction notice for the apartment. I explained that he had 30 days to find a job and a new place to live because I was done supporting his idle lifestyle while he treated me like a servant. It all started 8 years ago when Ethan and I got married. I was a dedicated nurse in the ER, with a stable income. Ethan came from a well-to-do family. His father, Mr. Thompson, was a successful businessman, and his mother, Mrs. Thompson, was a traditional woman who believed in old-fashioned gender roles. 3 years ago, Ethan lost his job as a marketing manager due to a company restructuring. At first, I was understanding. Losing a job is tough, and I supported him emotionally and financially as he searched for new work. I thought it was just a temporary setback, a part of being a supportive partner. In the beginning, Ethan made some efforts. He updated his resume, applied for jobs, and went to a few interviews. But after a month of rejections, his enthusiasm waned. He started sleeping until noon, spending his days watching movies or playing poker online. When I gently suggested that since he was home all day, he could help with some household chores, he was offended. "I'm not a housewife," he'd say. "I'm in between jobs. I need to focus on finding the right opportunity." I checked his computer history out of desperation one day and found hours of entertainment websites, but no job hunting platforms. His resume hadn't been updated in over a year, and he hadn't applied for any jobs in months. He'd settled into unemployment as if it were a permanent vacation, with me footing the bill. Mrs. Thompson only made things worse. She encouraged Ethan's sense of entitlement, telling him that he was too good for menial jobs. She believed that a good wife should support her husband unconditionally and that I should take on more responsibilities around the house and for her. She started calling me to run errands for her, asking me to clean her house, and expecting me to cook meals for her family gatherings. When I told her that I was working full-time and didn't have the time, she was appalled. "Family helps family," she'd scold. In my day, daughters-in-law knew their place. Ethan always sided with his mother, saying that I was being disrespectful and that helping his mother was my duty. I pointed out that his mother was a healthy 60-year-old woman who just wanted a free maid. But Ethan accused me of being cold-hearted and not understanding family values. Over the years, the demands escalated. Mrs. Thompson would call multiple times a week, ordering me to do this or that. Ethan reinforced these expectations, getting angry whenever I refused or didn't meet her standards. 2 weeks ago, during my shift at the hospital, Mrs. Thompson called and demanded that I leave work to bring her some medicine because she had a headache. When I explained that I couldn't leave in the middle of my shift, she called me selfish and hung up. Ethan shrugged it off, saying, "Mom wasn't feeling well. It wouldn't have hurt you to help." I was in disbelief. "Ethan, leaving my patients in the ER to run an errand for your mother could have cost someone their life, and it would definitely have cost me my job." But he waved it off as me being overly dramatic. The breaking point came last Tuesday. I'd worked a 14-hour shift due to staff shortages, dealing with one emergency after another. I came home at 11 p.m. physically and emotionally drained. When I walked into the apartment, Ethan was right where I'd left him that morning, on the couch, surrounded by pizza boxes and empty beer cans. "There's no dinner?" he asked, not even looking away from the TV. I took a deep breath and said, I worked 14 hours, Ethan. I didn't have time to cook. There's food in the fridge. You could have made something. He looked annoyed. I don't cook. You know that. I was waiting for you. I was too tired to argue, so I just went to bed. The next morning, my phone rang. It was Mrs. Thompson. I need you to come clean my house today. I'm having guests over tomorrow, and everything needs to be perfect. I explained, as I had so many times before, that I was working and couldn't drop everything. She called me selfish and said that Ethan had told her I'd been difficult lately. I hung up and called Ethan. Your mother just demanded that I clean her house today. I told her no. Please make her understand that I'm not her servant. Ethan sighed heavily. Why do you have to make things so difficult? It's just a few hours of cleaning. Mom needs help. You're her daughter-in-law. It's your responsibility. Something inside me snapped. My responsibilities? Ethan, I'm the one supporting both of us financially. I'm working 60-hour weeks. I come home to a messy apartment and no dinner because you can't be bothered to contribute anything. And now you think I should also clean your mother's house? What exactly are your responsibilities in this marriage? He got defensive. I'm looking for work. It's stressful. I can't be expected to do housework and deal with mom's needs. You're the one with the job and the income. You should be grateful I'm not asking for more. I laughed bitterly. Grateful? For what? For the privilege of supporting a grown man who does nothing while you and your mother treat me like a servant? We argued for an hour, getting nowhere. Finally, I said, I can't do this anymore. Either you find a job within the next month, start contributing to this household, and set boundaries with your mother, or I'm done. I'm serious, Ethan. This can't continue. He dismissed it as an empty threat, thinking I'd calm down. That afternoon, during my lunch break, I contacted a lawyer. I explained the situation, and the lawyer assured me that since I'd been supporting Ethan for 3 years with no contribution from him, and the apartment was in my name only, divorce would be straightforward. He could have the papers drawn up within a week. I also spoke to my landlord about the eviction process if Ethan refused to leave after the divorce. The landlord confirmed that I could legally evict him with a 30-day notice. Last night, after another long shift, I came home to find Ethan on the couch. His mother had called him multiple times, demanding that I clean her floors immediately. Ethan was annoyed that I wasn't already on my way. Mom needs her floors mopped tonight. You need to go now, he said without any preamble. I looked at him in disbelief. Ethan, I just worked 12 hours. I'm exhausted. Your mother's floors are not my priority. He sat up, his face turning red with anger. You have no respect for family. My mother needs help, and you're her daughter-in-law. You have to do it. I remained calm. Actually, it's completely negotiable. And my answer is no. If your mother needs her floors mopped, she can do it herself or hire someone. He stood up, trying to intimidate me with his height. Either you go mop my mom's floors right now, or I'm filing for divorce. I smiled. File for divorce then. He was stunned. What? I repeated, you heard me. If my refusal to mop your mother's floors is grounds for divorce in your mind, then go ahead. He tried to recover. Don't test me, Carrie. I'm serious. Go to my mother's house right now, or we're done. I picked up my bag and said, I'll be back in 20 minutes. Make your decision. He settled back on the couch, looking smug, thinking he'd won. Little did he know that I'd gone to my car to get the folder of documents the lawyer had prepared. 20 minutes later, I walked back in. Ethan looked up expectantly, probably waiting for my apology. Instead, I handed him the folder. What's this? he asked, his confidence wavering. Open it, I said. He opened it and saw the divorce papers. His face went pale. You can't do this. This is my home, he said in a panicked voice. I corrected him gently. This is my apartment that I pay for. You've been living here for free for 3 years without contributing anything. That's over. You have 30 days to find a job and a new place to live. He tried to argue, but I was firm. I reminded him that the marriage had been over for a long time, and his ultimatum about the floors was just the final straw. In the following days, it was chaos. Ethan tried everything: tears, anger, bargaining. His mother started harassing me, calling and showing up at my work. But I got a cease and desist letter from my lawyer sent to her. Ethan finally got a job at a local warehouse. He came home after his first shift and said, "See? I'm changing. Can we call off the divorce?" But I was unmoved. I told him that while I was glad he had a job, it was too little, too late. 2 weeks ago, he moved out, renting a small room with his new income. His mother still tries to contact me through mutual friends, but I've blocked every attempt. The divorce will be finalized next month. I'm staying in my apartment, which finally feels like a peaceful place. I've picked up extra shifts at the hospital because I want to, not because I have to support 2 people. I've reconnected with friends I'd neglected, and I've rediscovered the joy of coming home to a clean apartment that I've kept clean myself. I've learned that ultimatums only work if you're afraid of the consequences. Ethan thought threatening divorce would make me submit, but he never realized that I was actually waiting for an excuse to end this one-sided marriage. His ultimatum was my liberation, and it was the moment he finally learned not to underestimate me.